What's going on, beautiful people? Today we were able to make a profit from the markets. We caught a 1 to 4. Let me show you how we did it. I took about 5 trades. Like I said, we were in profit. I'm gonna go through the recording of the live session that we had and break it down for you guys. All right, so this was the live session. It was about an hour. So we started off a little bit behind, and because since I woke up late, I had to set up the computer as quickly as possible because the market was just about to open. So market's doing its thing. I was waiting for a retest of the VWAP on this chart here. I was using the footprint chart as well as the bar chart with the 1 minute bar chart. The VWAP was in a different place on both charts, so I was just waiting for a retest of this VWAP to then take it to the highs. It does take a little while. I don't get into anything. It looks like I'm trying to get into something now. I'm waiting for the right indication. To get into the markets. I do have this high volume node here that I really like as a type of support, so I'm waiting. I think I got into one. I put my stops just under that because I saw a successful auction, but it still didn't want to push up. It just happens. You can't really control that. You just got to go with the punches, roll with the punches. We try again because we do see that it does reject that high volume node. But what happens? We get taken out. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit more. I do get into one more because I do see a successful auction and I see a rejection. I see price halting at this low volume area. Don't know what happens. Did I get stopped out or am I? Hold on. Let's see. It's still going. Everything's all right. It does go pretty high. Yeah, it does go pretty high. I think I end up moving my stops because we were more than halfway to my target. I think we were definitely over 50% to the way to my target. I didn't want to give any profits back to the markets, so I ended up getting stopped out. As you can see right there, that was the first trade, or technically first real attempt at least. I was holding. I got all the confirmations. I end up getting into another position here. I do see successful rejection. I think I stopped myself out because I didn't like the way it was rejecting here with all this volume here at this area. It just was not. It didn't feel like the right trade to take. We're attempting again, and I'm seeing successful auctions. I move my stops. I think a little bit closer. Let's see. Yeah, so right here I move my stops a little bit closer, thinking, okay, price is just gonna sweep the highs now. It's gonna actually go up and take out the highs. I look back to see how far I can actually take it. I wanna be correct on everything. I don't wanna miss a beat. So I'm over here trying to, get everything correct. And what happens? It takes some time, but it actually takes me out in a little bit of profit. So again, I keep taking little bites out of the market, but I'm not getting that big bite of it, and for me, I wasn't satisfied. I know price wants to push up, so I get into I get into another one, and so far I've taken profit twice. It's just small profits, and it's bothering me, so I'm in another one. I see successful auction, which I love. On this one, I think I move my stops again. All this to say, the whole day I just kept moving my stops a little bit prematurely, and you have to follow your plan. If your plan is okay, if you are going to get invalidated, this is the spot. So I kept, I would put my stops under that invalidation spot, but then I'd move it closer to actual price level because I didn't want to give any money back to the markets. And that's not always the best mindset to have. You have to be stronger than that. And if you are, you can't be wishy-washy. This trade right now that I'm in right now ends up being a loser because, I wasn't even trailing correctly, and so it's a little bit of a mess today. We end the day in profit, but I think I had a lot of sugar last night, being that it was Thanksgiving. I had a lot of sugar, so my trading was a little bit off. I felt amped. Just with a little bit of spike on price level. Every little spike of price level gave me a feeling that it was gonna either shoot up or shoot down. And usually I'm calm, cool, and collected, but today it was just a little bit different. It was just a little bit different because of all that sugar I had last night. But shit happens. It's all good. No biggie. Price, I think, takes me out. unfortunate, right? But that's how it is when you constantly moving your stops to break even, and you're not following your plan by putting your, sticking to those stops that would invalidate all the trades, right? And so I just kept getting stopped out. And like I said, it's on me. All right, price is moving. I do get into another one, and I think this is the final one that finally pushes up to the upside. Let's see. It does take some time. It's not very quick about it. The recording was about an hour, so probably took me about like 40 minutes just to get a successful trade. Had I just left my stops where they were on the first trade, I wouldn't have been back and forth the whole session. For that whole 45 to an hour session, I wouldn't have been back and forth on my P&L. It would have just been one solid trade all the way to the upside for a 1 to 4. But instead, I just kept chomping at it, and then I took a little loss, and then I get a big bite, which is right now. And I'm just watching the footprint chart. That's all you gotta do. You just gotta watch the auction. You gotta watch the price levels. You gotta watch the volume. You gotta be in there. You cannot just focus on the candlesticks. The candlesticks do not tell you anything. You're losing out on so much money. The precision. You're waiting for a whole candle to form. That could be 10 points right there. When you could have, just based off of the footprint chart, you could have gotten on a trade with 3 points risk, which is nothing. Instead, you're waiting for a whole little candle that could, who knows what the size of it's gonna be, and you're waiting for that as confirmation. That's not right. So I think, we're at the highs now. I'm moving my take profit just a little bit higher, but I think for me it didn't look good because it kept crashing in to that 45.50 level, and I was not liking that. So I think I decide to keep this, but then it pushes up one more time, doesn't break through. So that's when I decide I'm just gonna get out. There's no point. It doesn't want to break higher, and I'm just waiting for it, and it doesn't want to break higher. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, price is having trouble. I'm cool with taking profits. We're up on the day. We made a profit. So I ended up trading yesterday. That was a wash. I mean, like, it was just garbage. There was no volume like there is today at all. We were just in a literally like 20-point range, and I thought, well, maybe I can get a little something. I couldn't, because there just was no volume. It was Thanksgiving, dumbass. And so yesterday I ended up with a loss, and today we ended up with a win. This week we're still up, so it was a solid week. You just got to read the order flow. The auction is right there, right in front of you. It'll tell you everything you need to know. You gotta become a better risk manager. That's the one thing that took me a while to understand, because for me, I just kept going balls to the wall. I would win big trades, but then I'd lose big trades too. And so you have to realize that the thing that's going to save your trading is understanding risk management. You have to understand that if you have $1,000, you can only risk a couple % of that per trade if you want to be able to catch big trades, right? For example, like today, it took me about 5 trades. A couple were break even, a couple were really small losses. But if I had risked way too much, I wouldn't have been able to attempt so many trades. So you have to realize, get it through your head. Small trades are okay, because with certain systems like mine, I can catch a 1 to 10 or a 1 to 13. Today was a 1 to 4. It's not always going to be a 1 to 10, but multiple R is the way. You just have to understand risk management. You have to understand risk management. You cannot risk your entire account. And in the beginning, like I said, that's all I would do. And then I'd start all over, and I'd be like, oh, it's not me, it's the strategy. So then I'd flip to another strategy and another strategy and another strategy. And you can't do that to yourself. You can't keep flip-flopping. You gotta stick to one strategy and learn your fucking risk management for your account size, because your account size is everything, right? You want to preserve capital. How many bullets do you have in the chamber? You cannot fucking spray your entire clip. You have to wait, be patient, look for your setup, and then once that happens, go ahead and put a couple contracts on. You have $1,000, a couple contracts is fine. You wait for the process to happen. If it doesn't happen, it gets invalidated, then you're done. Because when your setup gets invalidated, usually those days are washes anyway. You can't let price action affect you emotionally. You have to stay strong, you have to stay calm, you have to stay cool, and you have to trust in your levels. You have to trust in your risk management. I mean, that is the highest thing. I mean, you can learn any strategy. My strategies, I like it. I've actually found something that I like, that I can trade every day, that I understand fully, not just, oh, the candle's fucking green or it's red or this and that. You have to really understand what you're doing. Stop gambling your money away. Seriously. I know I used to be that way, thinking I could maybe just get rich quick, but it's not always going to work. There were times where I made good money, and then there were times where I just lost all that money. So enough of me ranting. That's it for today. If you'd like, I do have a Discord where you can trade alongside me. I'm trying to get better at posting on there because it can be tough when you're in the mix, right? When you're in the trades, you're just zoned in, you're locked in, and for me to be just, you know, updating y'all on my trades, it's a little hard. So I'll get better at that. And yeah, it's there's a 3-day free trial. Just check it out. You don't have to spend a dime. So 3 days free trial. Check it out, and I'll see you there.